Welcome to Vista 2015. I'm Padma, this is Rohit from the Student Media Cell, and today we have with us the privilege of interviewing a journalist himself. So what better occasion than that? Uh, as you all know, Mr. Rajdeep Sardesai is here with us today as part of Vista. So let's begin by asking him a few questions. Sir, as one of the most prominent faces of media and an eminent figure on TV, I just want to ask you, how do you feel about, all the latest news which come up in terms of not only content but the way they are portrayed? Do you think that there's something that can be done better? What is lacking in your opinion?
Well, there's a lot that's lacking. But look, at the end of the day, news evolves. And I guess if you look at news from a static prism, you will, feel that what is happening around you is crazy. Because the world 20 years ago was very different to the world today. But, that doesn't mean that... I think it's important that news evolves, but the point is we've ended up throwing the baby out with the bathwater. So, for example, in our quest for TRPs or for eyeballs, we've tended to sensationalize much more than we did 10 or 20 years ago. Our fact checking is not as good as it was 10, 20 years ago because speed is of the essence. So I think, somewhere we've lost some of the core values of journalism, which is disappointing. But at the other end, the world, it wasn't as if the world 30 years ago was a nicer world. I'm happy that the Doordarshan world is slowly disappearing also. But I would have preferred that we evolved to the next level and improved the quality of news, which we haven't done.
So what do you think is the main issue behind this? Where do you think the change can start coming from?
See, part of the problem is the business model. We've got a business model at the moment where you don't spend enough on quality news gathering. We end up spending in journalism today, we spend 30 to 40 crores an annum on carriage fees given to cable operators just to show the channel. So if you have 30 to 40 crores being put there, if you have another 40 to 50 crores being spent on salary, you just can't handle, where is the money to actually invest in quality news gathering? In say, let's say sending a reporter to the northeast and asking him to spend a month there in Manipur, or asking a reporter to go to Chhattisgarh and spend 15 days there tracking the Naxalites. It just doesn't happen anymore because business organizations are saying, why should I invest in news gathering when I already have to spend so much on carriage or so much on salaries? That's not an excuse. I think the only way out is to create some kind of a public trust model wherein your bottom line is taken care of through some kind of a public trust. If you can do that, like the BBC has, then you would be in a position to do better news.
There are resource constraints in journalists being able to cover stories. A lot of stories are evolving from citizens themselves and from the public through social media.
Mm-hmm.
In that context, it's very easy for things to get blown out of proportion on social media. A single statement can become inflammatory overnight. What do you think should be one's general, reaction, or how would you deal with this in the best possible way?
We live in a strange world where I'm subject to rules and I can be taken to court for criminal defamation. A print journalist can be taken for criminal defamation, but on social media everything goes. And your generation seems, I'm sorry to sound like your generation, my generation, but your generation seems to be more than happy to just live in this anarchic, chaotic world where you can abuse, you can say what you want about someone with no rules and no norms. So I think social media can be a source of enormous information. You can get story ideas from social media. You can set up a very healthy debate. It can democratize opinion by bringing in citizens into the democratic space. But at the same time, it can be a noxious chamber of hate, of abuse, of defamatory stuff. So, I personally believe that social media has to also try and evolve itself into being a more positive symbol of change, not be caught in this permanent state of outrage all the time.
Speaking about the positive symbol, right, you just said. So we'll be getting plays in this after these 2 years or 1 year. We'll be going into big MNCs. So what do we have in media for us, for students of IIM or any other?
Hey, why do you want to go to an MNC only? That's of course your call. But look, what do you have in terms of the media? I think if you guys can bring your management practices to try and find ways in which we can harness the power of, say, digital media, or harness even the power of television to provide more effective communication where obviously revenues also matter, I think it would be great. You guys are going to have to come why can't we have an Indian Twitter? Why can't I have an Indian Facebook? Why can't I have Indian citizen journalism, which is my dream, wherein every Indian can have a space where they can put out their videos, put out their blogs, create the world's largest town hall if necessary. I don't have a management background, so these are all wild thoughts that I have. I wouldn't be able to see a spreadsheet on this. So you guys are going to have to put the spreadsheet and make sense of it all for people like me. So I think the huge opportunity lies in the fact that there is an information explosion taking place in India. How do we make that information explosion revenue generating, as well as fulfilling an important public service? I think that's the challenge for you. I don't think the media is playing the role of service in the manner that it should.
This is another journey question. Any valuable experience or any learnings or advice you want to impart to the students of IIMB?
See, since I didn't go to management school, I've always learned never tell management students give them too much of advice. I'm sure you get lots of advice already from your profs. Look, my advice is a general life advice. Which is to follow your heart and go by what you think is right. It's easy to take the soft options in life or to make compromises. But I think somehow life, is a journey. So I think all of us get too caught up in immediate destinations and in goals. I think goal setting is important, but I think the journey to achieve that goal is far more important than the goal itself. So if you can reach your goal by making the least compromises, I think that's a better way to live.
Thank you so much. I think that was a valuable input. And one final question, which is on a slightly lighter and personal note. So we know you're in media and Sagrika ma'am is also in media. So we just wanted to know, do these conversations spill over to the table as well? How do you guys separate the two?
In hindsight, if I ever had to tell you, I would say never marry people in the same profession. But that's in hindsight. Look, I think you respect each other's space, and you discuss these issues all the time. It's like two doctors, I guess, who would discuss medical issues. I think the ethical challenges in particular is what we agonize a lot over. Because I think we've seen journalism evolve from where it was when we joined in the late 80s, early 90s to today. And I think what they don't teach you in business school sometimes, I don't know, they may be teaching you in business school, is the ethical challenges. Whether you're getting into an MNC or whether you're getting into media, I think we need to respond to this ethical challenge that we are all faced with.
I think, in fact, a lot of our learnings in terms of these are also coming on the job when we organize fests like this time.
Yeah,
we
but
get to have this hands-on experience.
I think you need to tell your profs, you need a separate course in ethics. Ethics at the workplace. I think it's a huge thing, and I don't think we teach it enough in business school.
Yeah, we're fortunate to have that course, so it's a great course to learn from. So one final message you'd like to give to the entire community, if you had to summarize probably one instance from your career or one most memorable challenge you faced in terms of a learning.
It's tough to single out one when you've done, when you've been in a career for a period of time. But I remember still, I think in '94, I left print to join television. And I did it purely on the basis of, instinct. That, maybe TV is a place worth experimenting with. And there was never a concept of 24/7 channels or becoming famous or being invited to a discussion like this, none of that. And what happened as a result was that I was forced to learn new skills and discover new things about yourself. And I think that's what life is. It's a process of constant learning and self-improvement. I think the worst thing that any of us can do is to think that we've arrived in life. Because I think then you're in a comfort zone and you never get shaken out of the comfort zone. And at various times in my life, I've gone through that. Even last year when I had to leave CNN IB, and I would have never left it. You set up something, someone comes, takes it over, and you realize, that you've got to prepare yourself for new challenges. So life is a journey, not a destination. If you go with that attitude in life, trust me, you'll find yourself actually finding new strengths and new energies that you believed you never had before. I wrote a book last year, and honestly, I never thought I would actually write 130,000 words. But you do things in life because you're pushed into situations in life where that becomes the most important thing at that moment. So As long as you don't see life as some destination that I have to become whatever, I think it's a better way to live.
That's a really nice input. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, guys.
On
Thanks.
behalf of the Forum for Industrial Interaction and the Student Media Cell, we're really happy to have you here.
And I wish you all well.